Hi, welcome to Beyond the Podium. I'm Brandon Rios. I'm here today with,
Tanner Rice.
and we're at Rice Bros Jiu Jitsu in Redding, California. Let's get right into it. So, Tanner, what got you into Jiu Jitsu?
My dad. So my dad was into karate for, forever, and then UFC one came out, and then he started beating people up or trying to do jiu-jitsu, and then so that UFC one when it was is 93, so that the year I was born. So that's when my dad started jiu-jitsu, and he started because it's kind of a funny story. He owned a hardware store in Cottonwood, and this airline pilot that had been training with the Gracies was a purple belt. He went into my dad's hardware store to buy, whatever, and he heard people like get just like kind of grunting in the back like warehouse, and then he kind of just peeked his head back there. He's like, "What are you guys doing?" He's like, "We're just wrestling." Like, they didn't even know what it was called. They couldn't even pronounce jiu-jitsu really. So, anyway, um, that's how it all got started. That's how my dad got started.
So
Yeah,
your dad's the one that kicked it off for your family.
yeah, my whole family.
So, you got siblings that train, right?
Yeah, so I run this school with my younger brother, and then my older brother has a school in Medford. Other younger brother kind of teaches in Reno sometimes, but he's a bodyguard in. He's a black belt as well, but he's a bodyguard in Reno.
How long have you guys been open here?
This academy, this is 2 years almost today. Yeah.
Nice. It's a beautiful school, by the way. A lot of space.
Thank you.
So you have a wrestling room, and just plenty of mat space.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it took 15 years to get here. A lot of ups and downs.
What's your first memory of your first time doing Jiu Jitsu?
Oh man, that's a good question. My older brother's beating the shit out of me, probably. So yeah. No, but my older brothers were 7 and 8 years older than me, so they would just like, I was just so frustrated. I was, I'm a redhead, so I had that redhead temper. So I think I was. It was a very frustrating start. So I can't say that I loved it off the bat. I think when I started loving it was when I competed the first time. I think I was 11, and that's when I fell in love with it.
Did you always know you wanted to be like a competitor, or is this something you kind of like fell into?
Back then, it was kind of like jiu-jitsu wasn't what it is now. You know, so I can't say that I was. I didn't think I was going to be like competing in Dubai or anything like that. That wasn't even on my. I didn't even know it was a thing. So I think, yeah, but I think competing was definitely why I stuck with it, though, for sure.
But what age did you think that, like, this is like when you kind of decide, like, this is what I want to do, like, I want to do this for the rest of my life.
I
This is
was
it.
probably a green belt. I think. I think I was a green belt, and I was like, "This is what I want to," and then this is what I want to do forever. You know, so I didn't know what that looked like, but that I think that's when I decided. I was like 14, I think.
And you did. I mean, like, your resume speaks for itself. You've gone against a lot of the best in the world. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people out there you've gone against different, like, and you competed at all belt levels, including the youth belt levels.
Yeah.
What was your toughest as a black belt? What was your toughest match? Like,
No, every one that I lost.
So
Yeah.
definitely, like you say, worlds. Obviously, you can
Yeah, worlds. Yeah, I think like the toughest match. Adam, I fought Adam in. I fought Adam like 4 times now, I think, and every time I was just like getting rid of his grips and like everything was just like it's something about the way he rolls exhausts you.
Just
It just, yeah, it just, I don't know, I can't explain it. It's just like he does things a lot differently than most. Like he grips differently, not the strength of it, but he grips in different places.
unorthodox a little bit.
Yeah, it's very unorthodox, and it just like it just kind of burns your hips, you know. And every time I've fought him, it's just like, dude, I am so tired. Like I don't want to go on. I don't want to fight anymore.
So you definitely say, what league do you push here for your students to do the most?
Right now, Jiu Jitsu World League.
Jiu-Jitsu league. Why is that?
I'm a big fan of 2 matches for kids, you know, because especially beginners or kids that have only been competing like a handful of times, because a lot of them are just still fighting the nerves and learning how to get comfortable. And after their first match, if they lose that first match, like IBJJF is cool. It's just they lose that first match, you're done,
Yeah.
right? And for a beginner, like kid especially, right? It's like that's a crappy feeling to drive home. You just went down there, lost, and to drive home. So it's like at least you have that. You can talk to them afterwards, like if they're upset, which they generally are.
Yeah.
You know, like we all are when we lose. You can talk to them like, hey, now it's out of the way. Let's try again. And usually the second fight is always better, is because they're just comfortable. They got the nerves out of the way. Whether they lost, or won, the second match is usually better. I'm still the same way. My second match is better than the first.
What mistakes do you see competitors making early on?
I would say rushing
Rushing, like
when
not
they
really
first when they first compete. You know how, like, I don't know if you remember that feeling. I do. I think I have an old video somewhere. I was doing like this happy feet penguin dance, like because I was so excited. Like I was in the bathroom, my feet are going like this. I was just like, I don't even know why I was doing that, but I think it's just like it's so amped, right? It's
Yeah.
like so amplified, and your adrenaline's going, and you think this guy wants to kill you, and really you're just doing jujitsu.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I think that slow. I always tell my students, like, I had a lot of white belts yesterday compete for the first time, and like, this is so much different. I'm like, I told you guys, and it's so fun to see people like in good shape white belts, like they're very athletic, work out all the time, and they're just like, I'm so dead. I'm like, I told you, because you're gonna use twice, 10 times as much strength as you should.
I always sound like don't death grip. You go out there, like
Oh
the
yeah.
first thing that's gonna go is your grip.
Yeah. Yeah, all of them did the same. All of them did the opposite of what I told them to do. But then the second match, like, because a lot of them lost their first one, their second match they competed so much better. So I really like Jiu-Jitsu because of that.
Well, I always tell them, like, you're not gonna see anything different that you haven't seen in the classroom. It's just you versus your nerves.
Yeah,
Mainly.
exactly.
The more you compete, the more you kind of shake that off, and you just get consistent. You get comfortable being out there. Like I always say, but you want to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And the more you compete, you kind of just get used to that feeling.
I think that a thing that I used to do that I was able to relate to my students is you can look at somebody, especially children. You can look at another person that you're about to fight, and you just build them up in your head, like, oh, he's tough, or you know what I mean, or he has a scar on his head, or what, you know what I mean, like, and you're like, this guy's tough, right? It's like one of the white belts said that to me yesterday. He was like, man, a lot of these white belts look tough. I'm like, don't do that. They're just people.
Like you guys cauliflower.
Yeah,
he must have wrestled.
Yeah, you're just building this up in your head to make it so much worse than it has to be, But they got through it. It was a great tournament. So.
You're head coach now. You're trying to still compete actively. How do you balance that?
Well, I haven't recently, especially the last 2 years we moved here. We've added more classes. And we do a lot of like fundraising and stuff through this place, and just running the classes, and it's hard. And being a dad is, and is balancing all of that, and a husband. It's competition kind of took a break for a while. The last one I did was, I did one after what we fought, right? I did one after we fought, and then that was the last one I did, and that was a year ago.
By the way, I fought him at a Sacramento Open IBJJF. I had a better chance of sweeping this wall than I did him.
That's not true. But even then, when I looked you up, when I saw your name signed up, it's like I still do that in my head. Like I looked him up, like, gosh, this guy looks like big and mean. It's like, why am I competing? You know? And then you have to tell yourself, like, he's just a human. You know,
Yeah.
like he's just
Well,
like we're all just human.
I mean, I like for as a coach, I like to do my homework on individuals. You know, like as a coach, I like to strategize. You know, I like to know if like what my students are going against. So if they're going against like a takedown artist, like like a guard puller. You know, I tell them like what to expect. I rather because some people out there I've seen like they're like. My wife, by the way, she's probably gonna get mad at me for saying this on the podcast, but like I tell her like, hey, you're competing, let's watch footage. She's like, no, I don't want to watch that. She's like, I'm like, why? You want like? She's like, no. I'm like, but you don't want to be surprised when you go out there. I mean, I think it's just the nerves a lot that get the best of people. And I just think like I tell her, like the more you compete, you just get used to that.
I agree. And my wife does the same thing, but I won't put it on like the TV or anything. But she'll see me like watching a fight on my phone. And she's like, "You're not tired of doing that or like seeing that all the time?" I'm like, "Actually, this is the fun part." I love watching other people fight. I don't watch instructionals, but I watch other fights and study off of those.
I try to say like what's kind of like trending right now. Cause I always feel like jiu-jitsu goes in trends.
It does.
Especially with like I remember like around like when the berimbolo got hot, everybody was doing that.
50-50. Worm guard.
Especially when Keenan dropped that, everyone was like, "Oh, how do I get a hold of this?"
I was training with Leandro when Keenan finally like broke out, and that's when he beat Leandro. It was the only time he beat Leandro. Yeah. And I remember we were specific training to beat Keenan, and he's like, "Hey, put me in worm guard," and I'm like, "I don't know what it is." So he's like, "No, just wrap the lapel around my leg, like a single leg." Yeah. I'm like, "Leandro, that's not what lapel. It's not worm guard. I'm telling you, it has to be different than this." He's like, "No, this is what it is." I'm like, "Okay, I know Keenan, and I fought Keenan a handful of times too." And I'm like, "Dude, it's gonna be different than this. Like, it's not this." Yeah. Anyway, he goes out there, has no idea what it is, loses by 2 sweeps. It's like,
I mean, I bought the encyclopedia when he dropped. I was like, yes, like there's a lot of good details on there. I mean, it's something different, totally different. And you went against Leandro, huh?
I did, multiple times, 3 or 4 times.
How was that going against him? Yeah.
It was good. It was fun because I had trained with him before we fought each other, and then we were supposed to fight each other in 2012 when he just jumped on the scene. I had just got my black belt. That was my first tournament at black belt, and then or second tournament. Anyway, we were supposed to fight each other, and then I was on Alliance at the time, and then I had won my first fight at Pro League, and then I was supposed to fight Lucas Lepre first, and then they didn't let me, and that was my last time training with Alliance. So.
When you're competing consistently, what was your training regimen like?
I would train 2 classes a day, and then I would drill at least an hour a day, and then workouts on top of that.
Drilling just like specific movements, positional training.
I did the positional training we do is you start from bottom and you try to sweep or submit, and if you get one of those things, you just go back, right? So it's not like that's pretty like how we do it. Like we might start from belly heave or whatever and stuff like that, but and the same thing for passing. We're gonna start in belly heave and try to pass. I'm a big fan of group training, like Shark Tank style.
Yeah,
I love that. You get so many body types in just like 3 minutes. Even you're just like, oh god, like you have to. Yeah, you're problem solving constantly, right? Yeah, that's why I like it, and it's just fun. It's intense, right? It's a minute and a half. We usually do a minute and a half to 2 minutes. Sometimes longer, depending if we're getting ready for something, but minute and a half, and it's just like a burst, right? And you're just sitting in there until you hit your fight time, and then you're out, right? And then you got to do it again.
Yeah. What do you think separates a good competitor from like to elite competitor?
Mindset is the biggest. That's the biggest challenge I had to get there, to realize that people are just people, and not these people on a pedestal that we make them, right? And then that was one thing that I had to learn. It's just like these guys are just
they're people.
They're just
I think I can say I'm guilty of that. I would make somebody out like I remember at Purple Belt, I was in the IBJJF Vegas Open. I was going against like this number 2 seed at the time, and I'm like, man, like this guy's gonna whip me. I was already defeated in my head before I got there, and that's what happened. I was like, I should have had a different mentality at the time, thinking like, man, like screw that, just go out, like I should rather try steal this thunder rather than like
Totally.
just roll over. And that's something like I think a lot of people struggle with, like especially if you don't come from like a big school, you know, like a big, you know, you see like a name like if it's like AOJ, instantly like people get like, oh man, they're from that school, like or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that's something I try to tell my students, like, hey, who cares?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, you know, like
dude, think about like not because you're from AOJ does not make you good.
Yeah.
You know, it's like your students, right?
Yeah.
Now you could cut this part out if you want, but like I have plenty of students, you have plenty of students, right? That doesn't mean all of my guys are good, right? And like you're gonna have guys that just started or blue belts, or maybe they're just hobbyists. They just want to try to competition. You know, AOJ is the same way.
Yeah.
You know, great team, not hacking on them, but it's just a patch.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Did you ever hit like a plateau phase, like like at the black belt level, where you feel like maybe I reached as far as I can?
I'm notorious for like getting close at big tournaments to winning. So,
almost,
almost,
silver. No,
yeah, just like I'm a true like B team member. I think like, so no, it just I always just like beat everybody that was above average.
Yeah.
Right, and I beat a couple of the greats, but I was always just like right there.
Yeah.
And I just could not get past that.
That's all your resume. Like when I was looking at your resume, I was just seeing like the losses. They weren't like losses to randoms. They were just like high level people.
Yeah.
Like, man, like that's.
Yeah, that was like my plateau. And that was like a frustrating thing for me because it was like, that was like right there, So.
If you can go back, what would you probably done differently for like that, those preparations? Or do you feel like you did all you can?
I did all I could here. With teaching and the students that I had at the time, I'm not blaming them or like anything like that. It's just, I should have tried, like for my career, I should have probably moved away for a while, focused on competition with a good team.
Yeah.
And then came back and focused on teaching later.
I think I see that a lot with like high level people. Like they really don't like have that worry of running a school because like we talked about before, like being gym owners, like you trying to teach, it's not just as easy as it looks, like because a lot of times you're dealing with parents, you're dealing with a lot of
drama.
Yeah, a lot of issues that like the public doesn't see when it comes to like running a school. But like I think like like do you feel like in order to be like the highest level you have to be stepping for yourself and just close yourself off, train, focus on yourself?
Yeah. And I wish I would have done that at a young age. Like now you have to make money, right? I have a daughter, I have a wife, I have a mortgage payment, so it's like, you like, I can't just do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like you have to make money, right?
And you trained down in Brazil for a while, right?
I did, yes. When I was 15, yeah.
Let's talk about that. How was the experience down there?
It was really good. I was kind of thrown to the wolves as far as like, they didn't have like they didn't teach too much, but they just like, hey, you're gonna learn from training, and I'm like, really? And so they just like kicked the crap out of me for, I went for probably a total of like 2.5 years.
Did you speak any Portuguese down there?
I speak, I want to say fluently, so I kind of got away from it, but now I have like 4 or 5 Brazilian students, so I get to practice it a lot more.
That's good.
Yeah. Like, so I was able just to go. I went to Manaus, so there it's not like a big travel place. It's like in the middle of the Amazon. It's not like Jacare came from there, and like the Ribeiro brothers, Mika's from there. Anyway, so there wasn't a lot, it wasn't a big travel city, so there was nobody that spoke English, so I had to learn it. But it does come in handy at tournaments. I don't like to argue with the referees. I very rarely do. But when I've had to, it does come in handy.
How was the environment down there, just training with in Brazil?
It was just like just killers.
Does it differ than like people training in America?
Yeah. It wasn't. It was just like show up, put your gi on, and just like kill or be killed. There was no instruction. It was just like
open mat.
Yeah, it was just, it was hot, right? It was like Yeah, but I love the experience though. Like I grew up. I had to grow up. You know, that was the first time I went. It was the first time on a plane. Never went been away from here. Um, you
You
know, it
went
was like so many firsts. And I went for 3 months. Like I got homesick in like a week. I was like, I don't want to go home because you're not talking to anybody. You can't,
yeah.
right? So it was.
You
But
went down there by yourself or just go down there?
so initially I went with a friend, Carlos Diego Ferreira. He's in the UFC now. I went with him. So we met through a mutual friend.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's pretty cool that you were down there at age 15. You know, your parents let you go.
Yeah, I told my dad that's the biggest mistake I've seen you make as a father. So, that's really the only mistake he's made it as a father. I think I was like, what were you thinking?
You sending me
Like,
down there to the wolves.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was a priceless experience though, just being
it
down
was.
there.
It was. I loved it.
Um, like you said, I could only imagine like the atmosphere, just everyone trained down there, just waking up, training hard, just
Yeah, dude. Back, I don't know how it is now. I haven't been back in a while, but back then, like certain clubs, like they don't like each other, and like our specific club, you carry your gi normally, like in a just over your arm or something. But there was like it was like almost like a gang almost. Like if we carried ours like wrapped up and carried like in your belt, like and I did that one time because it was like a 45-minute walk to the gym from where I was staying. So I was like carrying it like this, and like hey, I showed up like that, and he's like, hey, don't walk like that. And I was like, why? He's like, what are you talking about? I thought they were screwing with me initially. Like, just don't walk like that. That's what the other people like they named a school. I don't remember what it was. They named a school, and they're like, hey, don't do that. That's what they do. I'm like, what is this, a motorcycle gang? Like, what's going on?
don't
Like,
cross your arms.
yeah, yeah.
So you'd say that's like a. You would think that's good for like people trying to take jujitsu seriously at the highest level. Just focus on themselves, travel, and like go like just go
If you're
train.
gonna do it as a career, you need to find a good team, right? Like you rolled with a couple of them today. I have you see a lot of these guys like, and I'm not taking anything away from them, but these big name schools. Think of how many people they've created from ground zero.
Yeah, not a
I
lot.
bet you it's less than a handful,
Yes.
right? And it's pretty like I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but it's so much work to take a kid with no experience whatsoever and make him an IBGF world champion, right? It is so much work.
Yeah.
Like there's so much extra time that you put into those kids, and it's really hard. So I don't even remember how I was going with this, but it's I think that now I have really good training partners. Like you trained with a couple of them today. Like I have great training partners. My brother's a good training partner. Um, but yeah, it's like, but if you want to go now and go compete and start winning, if you need to go move to a better school to train. You know
So find the right team, find someone that matches like your agenda.
exactly.
Yeah. So you think like small schools? Again, when I was doing this last one, Nolan comes from Brea, which is a
Yeah,
very small
yeah.
academy, and it's more just like concentrated
Hmm.
jujitsu. And it's cool to see someone like that kind of get to like the like
It's awesome.
yeah, on the podium on top of it, or just placing consistently. Because now, like a day, like we talked about before, like we talked about Atos, how a lot of people flocked over there,
Yeah, well,
and,
it's
and
just the same way.
yeah, and now people
You
are
know.
flocking towards AOJ due to that incident.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too. That it's like, I think it was a big name. Gosh, who was it? Anyway, he had been around for a long time, and he posted a great team. Right. I'm not gonna call him out or anything, but he posted this thing like my first, and he has multiple black belts under him. He's like my first black belt from white belt to black belt. I'm like your first. I mean, you've been doing this 20 years longer than me.
Wow.
So that means all of those guys came there and they were probably either good already or like, and not to mention they probably made them better. I'm not saying that. It's just like when he posted that, I was like, what? It's like that's how many people like just moved over, It's crazy. Which
Like,
is good. Like a lot of them are good now, but it's just crazy to think that this specific person was doing it for 40 plus years and that was his first um white to black belt. It's just like what is
I,
that's crazy.
I think it's hard to find like people that that see the vision that you have as a coach. Like I always tell everybody, if you're not happy here, you can find somewhere else. Find somewhere that suits you. But like, it's cool to see like, when people actually trust and believe in your vision as a coach. They
Yeah.
stick by you and they don't just go looking. Like because I've had being in Bakersfield, I have a school and it's a smaller town, but there's a couple other schools people want to come to me for results. And like I tell them, hey, you got to adjust to our style. Like I personally like getting people with zero experience. I can build them up
Yeah.
rather than like take a different style that they're just used to, and then you kind of got to break those habits.
I've definitely had, I've had both. I've definitely, been on both of that sides of that coin for sure. It is very rewarding when you've created something from ground zero, right?
Yeah, very rewarding.
As a coach, yeah.
It's priceless to me to see like one of my students like just be like someone from a big school. I love that feeling.
Yeah.
And then seeing like the kid's reaction or like the coach's reaction, they're like, but they never leave. I'm like, well, they just did.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see that.
No, it's a great thing. I have Marcos Alvarado. I think he's a 3-4 time world IBJJF world champion, juvenile blue belt. Now he's a purple belt. And then Arjuna has placed like multiple times at Worlds. You rolled with him today.
Yeah, really tough guard.
Yeah. And then I have another girl, Kayla. She won blue belt Worlds open weight in her division. But all of those kids I created from ground zero.
That's awesome. That
it wasn't.
Built that.
Yeah. But think of how many people I'm sure think of how many people have funneled through your school.
Yeah.
Right. Over the years, right? I don't know if you're new to school, but we've had a school here in Reading for almost 15 years. So it's like when it's crazy about like you could go through your books and stuff. It's just like, a stack of old waiver forms. Yeah. It's like this big,
Oh wow,
yeah. Yeah. So now everything's, computerized, but it's just me and my brother counted one day, and this was years ago too. We counted one day like how many like release forms were signed and like people never came back, and it was over 2,000.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Jiu-jitsu has a huge turnover rate.
It does. Yeah. I think especially too as like a coach, depending like what your vision of the school is, like we were talking about earlier, like how you brand yourself. Like I try to push. I've always admired the competitive style of jiu-jitsu. Like I feel like there's like a goal. Now the self-defense style, like you said, the old traditional style, that's cool to know, but I feel like it's kind of jiu-jitsu has evolved so much to where it's like there's so much more than that. I mean,
and your average Joe probably knows stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like your average Joe has probably trained before.
Yeah. It's so much more
or they now. Watch UFC.
Yeah.
And they might try something like it's like you have to like it's jiu-jitsu is so mainstream now, like going to the traditional. I'm not saying self-defense jiu-jitsu is bad. It's just like man, a lot of people know a little bit now,
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. You walk on the street, you don't know who knows what.
You don't know anything. It's like that kid you rolled with today. He's a black belt jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
If you saw that kid walking down the street,
you think nothing.
You think he's like a little lesbian boy. You'd be like, dude, what the, and then you grab a hold of it, it's like, shit, what happened to me?
I was trying to pressure him. I was like, man, you can't squish gum right here.
Yeah.
50 chance knee bar. I was like, you're not getting my back. No, it was cool to like to see like like it's a good feeling. It's like what you as a coach like seeing like what you created from ground zero, and just seeing like them just go that.
I love it. That's
what push them as high as you can.
Yeah, and I think that was like Mario Alvarado. He won a brown belt pans. Super tough. Beat so like AOJ guys, whatever, and Atos guys. He's very, very good. And he got to the quarterfinal or semifinal of pans at black belt, and that's why I got into it, right? So I was able to coach him for that, and that's why I got into even taking coaching seriously. It's like I wanted to create this, to create amazing athletes and and people.
What do you love more right now, coaching or competing?
My heart's in competing. My heart's in competing, but I have to be realistic, like we were talking about today. Like I'm 33 and doing jiu-jitsu my entire life, your body doesn't work the same.
It doesn't.
So everybody's like, you're just 33. I'm like, dude, like I'm not on steroids, right? I don't take the peptides, all this fancy shit you guys are talking about. Like, like I don't know. maybe I should take that stuff, but it's just like you see, it's 33 and you've done this since you were 6 years old. Your
Takes
body.
its toll.
My wife laughs at me all the time because I get off the couch and I like take a second, like to stretch, like straighten my back out. And she's like, "You gotta get that looked at." I'm like, this is just what.
My wife is so annoyed at me when I roll out of bed. She's like, "You make like 20 sounds before you get out." I'm like, "Dude, just
Yeah,
put some slack." Or I get like everyone telling me, "Oh, you're young." So I'm like, "I've been doing this 16 years. I'm hurting on the inside. I feel
yeah,
like I'm 50."
yeah. No, she laughs at me. She's like, "You walk like you're," and the kids make fun of me too. One of the kids walked in the other day and he's like, "Tanner, I noticed something. You kind of walk like a penguin." I'm like, "You little," like, something salty me.
So
But
being a gym owner now, what did you always want to run it with your family, or did at any point you want to do it by yourself?
that's a deep question. Business and family is very hard. It's not. It's hard to navigate, right? Um, to be honest, I loved it for a long time, doing it with my family, and then I kind of wish I would have branched out, like moved to Texas or somewhere with high level training and kind of did my own thing.
Yeah,
You know, but mixing business and friendship or family, the saying is real, right? Like you, it's hard to mix the two. So we're doing a good job. It's just we're constantly like little battles because we're brothers.
yeah.
And it's just like,
Naturally that happens.
yeah, and it's just what happens.
And you guys are from Reading, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
from Reading. Yep.
So that was your guys like, was that your goal? Just like, hey, we're gonna open up, we're gonna stay in town.
To be honest, no. My dad opened it to get. I was competing first before my younger brothers, but my dad opened it to get me more training partners, right? Because I didn't have a lot, right? I only had my younger brothers, and then I had my older brother till he left, and then I had my dad. Well, my dad beat the shit out of me until I was like a purple belt. He's the one that gave me cauliflower. Yeah, I had cauliflower when I was 14.
So he's truly earned it.
Yeah, no, yeah, he's and then this other guy, Andreas, he still trains, and he was a rugby player, and at the time he was like 280, and I was training with them, like just getting wrecked. So but I do think that yeah, the business there's not a lot of money in jiu-jitsu. We're not doing this for money,
No.
right? Like we have to live, but we're not doing this for money.
I always tell people like anybody that owns a martial arts academy, just in general, they're doing it because they love it.
Yeah.
Anybody that does this, they truly have to love what they're doing.
Yep.
There's not a lot of money. I think if you're in like in a town by itself and you're the only school,
yeah,
then probably you can probably make a
yeah. I mean, we don't have a lot of competition here, but at the same time, um, there's only a certain amount of being a small town. There's only a certain amount of people that want to do jiu-jitsu, right?
So, what do you think your biggest like competitive like rivalry sport with jiu-jitsu here is? Like for me, it's like wrestling. Like
I think it used to be wrestling, but now like the best wrestling coach in all of Northern California is right here. Like he's actually his father. He also coaches here. They're named Jerry and Caleb Valentin. They, I think his dad has the most state championships medals from 1976 on. Right, so he's like for California. So like it used to be wrestling, but now it's so cool because we get to cross train, right? And Caleb is an amazing coach, and he gets to teach me wrestling and teach my students wrestling. So it's such a cool mixture.
I think that's such a smart move. A lot of schools now are having like an in-house like wrestling team, which is like by the way, his right over there's a wrestling mat over here on the other side. So if you hear the background noise, it's over there. But yeah, I think that's really cool to have. That way, like you can focus on jujitsu, they can produce wrestling. I think it's a good mix now because I always get people like, "Oh, which grappling is better?" I'm like, I think they both, they both complement each other.
Oh, they do 100%.
It's good
I don't know how you feel. I wish I would have started with wrestling for like 5 years.
Yes.
Because the tempo. The tempo is so not much gnarlier, and I had to learn through jiu-jitsu because how jiu-jitsu. We just talked about this. Jiu-jitsu could be like a waiting game, especially gi jiu-jitsu. It could be like a waiting game, and it could just be like a million miles an hour, right? So, but I wish I would have learned wrestling first to have that tempo of like a million miles an hour. and then just kind of went into jiu-jitsu.
At least for me, like when I'm coaching my students, I put them on like 3 different game plans. Like either you can initiate the takedown, you can pull guard, you can play counter. And some kids, like again, like wrestling, I do feel like that you get those kids that can push that tempo.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
something great to have in your arsenal.
Totally.
But again, like if you don't have that, if you don't have a wrestling coach doing it, it's very hard to it's like I know how to shoot, but I wouldn't say I can I wouldn't feel comfortable teaching a seminar with it. Like it's just it's not my world.
Yeah, totally.
I know how to do it, but I know enough to how to defend it.
For sure.
Like one of your students or Carlos.
Carlos, yeah.
Yeah, super. He was a good wrestler, and that's all you had to tell me was he was a wrestler.
Yeah.
So
I can't believe he fell for that.
Yeah, but like I tell him, I call it Jedi mind tricks. I'm like, okay. I'm like, let me put my strong leg out, and he's gonna take the bait.
Yeah.
Two shot, cross face, holding pass, and mount. And
I have a video of it. I already posted it. It's like, Carlos, you knucklehead.
It was like almost mother's milk. I felt bad. Okay, let me let the kid go.
Yeah. He's a tough kid.
No, he was good.
So
but
tough.
Again, that wrestling tempo. One thing I did feel his resilience. He did not stop.
Oh, yeah.
He just kept going. He did not accept surrender.
Yeah, he's been like that since he was young.
And
he never stopped.
I think that's something cool that wrestling helps. So I think by again having like an in-house wrestling club.
Oh, it's so cool. It's like how and it takes us and be careful for people that listen to this because there's a lot of wrestlers that it's like an ego. They just have every wrestler except for 3 that has came in here has had the worst ego. And a very difficult person to work with.
I see that. I think it's because you want to build them up. And I'm not bashing this type of a military branch like Marines, for example. I don't wrong. I love all military branches, but Marines. When I lived in San Diego and I was training at a school called Fabio Santos, I got my blue and purple belt from them. It was a military town, so there's a lot of military guys.
Yeah,
the Marines. It was hard for them to take losses.
And
I get because you're trying to build them up. I think in that wrestling community, the coaches are building them up to be unstoppable. But I always tell everybody, hey, everybody's beatable. You gotta be able to take a win and an L the same way.
Yeah.
And it's crazy seeing that wrestling personality where people they hate losing. I'm like, it's gonna happen, especially in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, it's just you have to. It's like the wrestlers that Caleb's raising up, the kids and stuff, is so cool to see. It's because he's fairly new. He's taught wrestling forever, but for public schools.
Yeah,
this is actually fairly new. He started this club when we moved here 2 years ago, and what he's teaching in there is it's God based, right? It's faith based, and the kids are amazing. I can't wait to see his kids in 5 years because the way and we get to, like I said, a lot of my advanced kids, they go over there. Like Carlos helps Caleb teach,
that's cool.
The young kids. But yeah, it's a great program.
What do you say? What's the biggest surprise about running a school?
The drama. The thing that people think that you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu and you run a school, people think that you have the answer.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm a person.
Yeah.
Right? I just do jiu-jitsu. It's just and then people want life advice. And sometimes I have good, I'll speak on it if I think that I can have something to say. But and then the drama that comes along with parents,
parents, the big one.
Parents fucking each other, you know what I mean? It's just stop fucking each other. The drama's over. You know what I mean? It's just it's, and they come to you I'm the answer. It's what am I gonna do? It's.
Yeah, I think.
And people that listen to this, I hope you watch this. You know who you are.
I love it. No, I think for again, a lot of people don't see the drama. I mean, they don't see what comes with this territory as far as running school. Yeah, the after hours. Yeah. Constantly trying to put out fires. And for me, I'm fortunate. I'm able to talk to a lot of my parents and not and get through to a lot of them. I don't really have too much problems. I'll have some problems with Rise occasionally, but it's just it's never ending.
It never ends.
It never ends. And I always start hey guys, I'm black on the mat, but white belt side most other things in life.
Totally.
Don't come to me for other things,
Yeah, if you ask me marriage advice, you're insane.
Oh, yeah.
I'm once divorced,
Same.
It's same. Do not ask me marriage advice. Are you insane?
Well, Well, like I just try to tell people like I'm not a doctor, but I've been hurt almost every part of my body, so I can tell you like okay like what
Sure.
like
Yeah,
like
yeah,
and
yeah.
like I always tell people like when they get armbar, especially we for me, I teach curriculum based, like, so we will focus on a move throughout the beginning of the week, and we kind of like do different versions of that, and we kind of like stick, So I always tell, my biggest thing with teaching is like I try to be consistent. Like I tell the parents, I can teach your kid a different move every day of the week, but they're not going to remember it.
Yeah.
So I try to build a foundation. We build off that.
I do the same thing.
When it comes to like an arm bar, if they're like, hey, you want to be cautious. If not, your arm gets popped. I make a funny sound. I'll do this.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
hey, like if you feel that, you're gonna be sore for like 2 weeks. It's
Yeah.
like, it's like I tell everyone like, oh, you're not a doctor. I'm like, hey, but I've been hurt enough, so I can tell you what.
Yeah, your
what
first
is.
one is usually the bursa sac, right? The
Yeah,
bursa sac in there pops, and it makes it sore as like it feels like something really bad
yeah,
happened, but you'll be fine.
yeah. I had a kid. We were working on a collar drags. We call them face plants. So we were talking about how to break your fall. And then one kid didn't break his fall, and he was like, the dad was like, oh, he'll be fine. I'm like, no, I think he has a concussion. Like, you might want to take him to the
Yeah.
doctor.
Oh,
Because he
totally.
wouldn't face first into the mat.
Yeah, we've had a couple of those. We did. I think the worst injury we had was actually our Juna's little brother, the kid you rolled with today.
Yeah.
He and Carlos is the one who did it, coincidentally. So we were just doing King of the Hill, but it was like fun and games. And Seraph was a lot smaller than Carlos. And Seraph was sitting like this, like for whatever reason, trying to take down Carlos because we were just playing. But his foot was out like this, and Carlos drove into him like this, and it completely rotated, shattered his femur. Right, that was the worst injury we've had in here.
And I think
That was a crazy
I
time.
think like one thing I tell people, you gotta kind of know what you're getting into. Like we're doing full contact.
Yeah,
Like injury is inevitable, but we do try to prevent it as much as we
of
can.
course. Yeah.
But I think some parents need to kind of like just calm down, like not freak out as much. If you see your kid get hurt, like it's gonna happen.
Oh, it's
Like and I always tell them like, hey, like for me, like I don't agree with like sometimes at like at tournaments, the referee you get a premature stoppage, especially with the arm. Like
Yeah.
you just get the arm exposed, come in the right direction, they're gonna stop it. A lot of my students were like, I didn't even tap. I'm like, well, that's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
It's all done for safety. I've seen that.
Totally.
I've seen that gone a good way and a bad way. With the refs
Mhm.
let it go, and like boom,
Yep.
arm dislocated. So in the classroom, I tried to mimic that same mentality. I was like, oh, your arm go. You're not even trying to fight. Oh, it's over.
Yeah.
And they're like, if I didn't tap, I'm
If the
like,
arm's straight,
yeah,
that's it.
I always tell them,
I
hey,
just say tap.
yeah,
I just yell tap, and then they let go. But how do you do? I have a question for you, just out of curiosity, because everybody's a little bit different. Do you let your parents coach?
no, I tell them. I don't mind them. Like for example, I'm at my school. I'm the only instructor. My wife
Yeah.
will step on the mat occasionally and help me when she can because she does work a full time job. But for me, I don't mind if like if I'm focusing on a kid and their kid's slacking off, if they tell me, hey, focus. That's kind of fine.
That's fine.
But if
I
they're
don't care
like
about
if they're
that.
trying to give word for word advice, like go for this, go for that. I don't like it, and I get parents get excited. There's that excitement they want to help, but they
Totally.
don't understand. Like for me, it creates confusion in the head with
And
the
it's
kid.
wrong.
Yeah, yeah, it's wrong. And if they're not training, because like all my adult students that do train that have their kids training, they're quiet. They're like, oh, they're gonna
Isn't that
figure it out.
interesting?
Yeah,
I always have this conversation because we have like a lot of obviously the whole family's trained and stuff,
yeah.
and like even black belts, like they're sitting here and they're just their mouths is shut the whole time watching their kid train because they're not the instructor,
Yeah.
right? And then you have the people who have never trained before. They're just like, do this, do that, do this. It's like you're just drowning your kid.
I think it's just I personally think it's the excitement
totally, and they want them to do.
They want them to do well, and they think like for them it's obvious. I think for jujitsu, a lot of it's problem solving. You gotta be able to find the right puzzle to fit that puzzle or that puzzle piece right there. And I think a lot of parents just get excited. But one thing I don't like seeing is just like when they don't understand, hey, you're creating confusion. And again, it's wrong advice most of the time. And it's just like I always sound like I want them to get used to my voice, not your voice, because when they have a problem, they're not going to turn to me. They're going to turn to you.
You might think differently than me. If you're not competition based, right? If you're selling self defense, if you're selling, it like which is fine. I'm not hacking on self defense. Like I think everybody should have it. But if you are self defense based, you're not going to win any competition if the parents sign their kid up. You're not going to win shit, right? And you are literally counting on the very small percentage of something happening outside.
Yeah. I think that the old school stages of like, if they do this, you do this. If you do this, you do this. I'm like, I just tell them you can use common sense jujitsu. Again, something I did working in the correctional system. I don't practice takedowns often. I know enough, but like anytime, like I worked at a very active prison where these guys were never going home, so their mindset was really aggressive.
Oh yeah.
So all I would do is just like a little Sotogari every time, and just use like a Neon Valley.
Yeah.
And all these inmates were like, "This guy's is a world black belt champion." I'm like, "No, I'm not." I'm like, "Trust me, guys, I wish, but I'm not." But to them, I'm like,
like has to know what he's doing. I'm way better than this.
But like I just tell people like after like a solid year of training, you should be fine, holding your own anywhere else. I just tell people like just use common sense. We're not trying to do ball at the bar. Like
it's
the best fights are the ones that you don't have to fight.
To grow a school as well, parents love to take their kids to competition.
Absolutely. It's just,
right. And so if you're like hacking on competition, right? Like it's fake jujitsu and all this, like, dude.
I hear it all.
It's like, dude, it's you guys are nut. If you're trying to run a school, you are absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Like if you're not trying to like get the kids ready for it, like I'm not saying it all has to be, but you should have a competition based, at least a class a day.
Yeah.
Right? Like it has like you're not gonna. The parents love and think about how boring this can be, right? How I shouldn't say boring. Think of how if you started right, how monotonous it gets. I'm gonna go in. I might lose some rounds. If you're a beginner, you're gonna lose all the rounds, and then it gets like exhausting, right? And it's repetitive.
Yeah.
And then like you'll lose people. So if you're trying to grow a school, like they have to have like I personally thrive of having a competition in mind, right? Like I'll eat healthier, I'll work out more, I'll train harder, right? If I don't have those things, I'm like, well, whatever, like.
Yeah, I think just for just having a competition team, I mean, just like just base, it's just important, But people have to understand too, like like I always tell my students this, like anything worth having doesn't come easy. It's, if it's worth having, it's not going to be easy. Like you're not going to get this awesome skill set after a month. It takes a while. Like I always talk something as simple as like a bachelor's degree. You can't go a year in college and get a bachelor's degree. You got to put some time in.
Yeah.
And they're wondering, like, I have a blue belt right now. Like I'm building him up right now. But for him, like he's always been above like our advanced youth. So we started putting him with adults like a year ago.
Yeah.
So now he's able to go with the adults, and like you'll get like these 18-year-old, 19-year-old like white belts coming, or like low 20s, and they're like, I'm like, hey, when you go with this 15-year-old now, he's not a normal kid. Like, don't hold back.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, what the hell? Like that kid, like what does that kid do? Like, dude, he just trains. Like he takes this very serious.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see like like when when you're building like someone like it's like when you're building like your students up, and somebody comes in, they're just like, amazed by that person. Like, oh my god.
Yeah. It's either does both, right? Like
that or discourages.
It doesn't. I don't think it discourages. It hits their ego immediately.
Yes.
And they cannot handle it, and they leave. The people that are kind-hearted, that have a humble heart, that want to learn, when that happens to them, like I have a black belt now that has been training with me since white belt, and he's like, the only reason why I stuck around is because, and I knew that this shit works, is because you put me with Kayla, and she was a teenage girl, and he's like, our size, and she like ripped my arm off like 10 times. I was like, and I was like, and he's like, that's why I stuck around. I'm like, that's that, but on the opposite side of that, I've done that to MMA fighters that come in here and they want to get their ground game rounded up before their local cage fight at freaking Wind River. Who cares?
Yeah.
And they come in like, hey, I trained for 2 weeks. I have a MMA fight coming up. I'm like, yeah, go with Kayla. They never come back.
Yeah, it's just. Well, I tell people too, MMA jiu-jitsu and sport jiu-jitsu are very two different worlds. Like obviously with us, we don't have to worry about getting hit in the face, but to me, there's more art in sport jiu-jitsu. There's more technical levels.
So it's like gi and no gi, right?
Yeah,
I love both.
Oh yeah.
Right, but gi, there's so much more to deal with.
Very, very.
Like it's chess and checkers, right? There's zero comparison. Like everybody's like, yeah, but you don't do no gi. I'm like, dude, I do something so much harder than gi. I love the gi because it's just like I have to problem solve. If you grab me like really strong and I can't rotate my hand out, right? And I can't do, it's like, okay, now I have to problem solve this grip, or I have to put pressure on it enough where I can burn your arm out, right? Or I have to figure out another way around it. No gi's just scrambled eggs.
Yeah, I mean, I think it comes down. I mean, obviously, like with that, I think physical attributes do come to play. Like you get somebody who has like they're in shape or not. In gi, I've seen guys who are really out of shape and they're just super technical. Like no-gi, I think it does help. And again, I'm not bashing on no-gi guys. You know, if you're
I'm not. No, I like both.
I do too. I always thought, you gotta be comfortable. You gotta be comfortable in both worlds.
Yeah.
You know, like for me,
Totally.
I feel like you're not a complete jiu-jitsu practitioner if you can't roll both and be comfortable.
For
me, I could take the gi off, roll without it, put it on, fine. I mean, do I prefer the gi? Absolutely. My heart's in the gi. Because especially now, just being older, you know, I can grab and slow things down.
Totally.
You know, in no-gi, I consider myself like, okay, I'm just gonna try to not let you move.
I just like it. I just like how dynamic it is compared to no-gi.
There's a lot of different things to play with. When it comes to running a school, what would you say, like, what makes it a successful school?
You have to learn how to be a people person. I had to learn that. Like even now, I have an RBF, and nobody likes to approach me, and it works for me. It works against me, right? But you have to, you have to sometimes deal with people that you're not necessarily fond of. You know, right? Like
patience.
Patience. Oh my gosh, patience. And you're a full-time therapist, right? And you don't want to be because I'm not a therapist.
Yeah.
I need a therapist, maybe, but I'm not. You know, but like you're teaching, it's just be kind. You know, have those classes where for the savages that want to freaking get killed and work hard, and then have the classes also for the guy that just wants to come in and hang out with everybody.
Yeah.
You know.
And I do think jiu-jitsu is a cool place to see people. You know, get people from all different walks of life.
It's so cool.
Yeah, you just see all these different people just on the mat. You know, sharing. You know, you'll hear so many different life stories. The amount of things I've heard on the mat surprised me in all ways.
But I love it. I love how you get like when you have your core group of guys and girls that that are just here, and you know that you're going to be lifelong friends with these people. You know, I love that, and I love that I can count on those people, and we have a little prayer group that we do on Monday mornings.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like it's prayer, but it's like obviously we're all kind of checking in with each other too. You know.
Yeah.
And you don't have to join it. It's just like it's right after 6 a.m. class on Mondays, and it's like we all check in with each other, make sure everybody's good, and sometimes we're not good. Like, dude, I found out this is crazy. Like this guy, this white belt, he just got his blue belt. He's been training for us like a year and a few months, and he always does 6 a.m., but he never joined the prayer group, right? And he joined the prayer group one day. He's like, "Yeah, I'm just really happy. My leukemia is dormant," and I'm like, "Whoa, Nelson, what are you talking about?" And everybody got quiet. I was like, you have cancer? He's like, yeah, I got it from the military. Like I was exposed to radiation, so I had to take these pills to keep this leukemia dormant. I'm like, what in the hell? Like I've known you for a year and a half, and I didn't even none of us had any idea.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's crazy. Some people keep some things close to their chest like that. And
yeah.
I think like a lot of people naturally have their guard up, as they should. But then they get comfortable and they start sharing things like that.
Yeah.
Like for me, a funny story again going back to when I used to train in San Diego. I was training with this military guy. And this guy was super humble. This is like the opposite of like the other military guys I rolled with down there. And then I found out like after like 2 years of training with this guy was a Navy SEAL.
Wow.
I'm like, this guy could literally kill me. But I'm beating him on the mats because he's like, he's trying to learn the art. So I was like, oh my God. He's like, well, yeah, I just want to talk about it because I'm like, no, dude, that's just I've always had respect for you, but like, dude, now my respect's up here. Hilarious. I was like, oh my God, I was just like thrown back. Like, it's just, you never know what people are, and it's just kind of cool to see it.
It is weird how things come up like that.
Yeah, just like the random things out of left field. What's one thing you enjoy about coaching the most now? Like, as a head coach, like, what do you like? What's your biggest joy you take away from that?
To see people not just succeed, but be happy with their performance, right? Like to finally get over that plateau, and you can see it on their face. They might not even be smiling, but you can see that they're just like, finally, like that's the addicting part. Like even it could be a white belt or a black belt, and I think that's really cool to see. Like, yeah, I felt good today, right?
I think it's cool seeing like somebody that some people, I think jiu-jitsu comes natural to some people, and some people they really have to earn their skill.
Oh yeah.
So like to me, I'll get like that kid who's like not as coordinated, maybe really like just
That's
like
me.
yeah.
I had to work so much harder. I trained some like advanced kids class, and the one kid, or actually the whole family, flew through our beginners, intermediate, got to advanced in like a year, because they're just like so talented. And I'm like, man, like maybe I could. Maybe that's what it took for me to get over my little plateau. That to beat the best is I was just this untalented ginger, Like, yeah, that's. But yeah, it is. But to see people, isn't that funny too? Though how the most athletic, talented, God gifted people stop before the nerds do.
Yes. I've
It's crazy.
I've seen several students who I'm like, man, if this kid would stick with it.
Dude, I would have had the best team on the planet, man. If I could keep every kid that was just God gifted, like gifted them.
I've seen so many talented kids, but I think they get in their way. They're their biggest enemy.
Yeah.
And like one thing I tell everybody in jiu-jitsu, you're gonna lose. Like, and if you're not, you never want to be the best one in the room.
Yeah,
you always want to be pushed. So like, I have my kids, and I encourage them to push each other hard. Now I try to keep a good balance with that, because when you do that, like obviously tempers kind of flare, especially with parents. But
and we're all human. Right?
yeah,
it could
it's
happen to me
natural.
and you.
Yeah,
right?
it can happen. Like for me, I've always understood, dude. There's somebody better in the room. Like I like getting, believe it or not, I like getting like smashing, like when I'm rolling with somebody, because it shows me, okay, this just shows me I need to work on. Like when I get somebody that comes in like for a trial, when they roll with me, they expect to get smashed. So, but when I put them against like one of like my white belts or blue belts, I'm like, oh my god, like I'm like, it's just pulsing, like
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
yeah. It's
they
just
think it's just you.
yeah, they think it's just the size. But for me, it's hard. Like, again, just going back to like being like a coach and trying to want to compete. It's hard to like push yourself, because like as far as like your training partners, I don't have anybody to push me. Like when I come over with you, I was like, yes, I needed that to.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna go back and go. Okay, I saw I need to work on, like, especially too. I tell people competitions are a great way to see what you need to work on. Whether it's cardio, technique, strategies.
Oh yeah.
And I tell people all the time, like like your strategies are gonna switch up every bout level. Like things you did at white belt are gonna change up
every fight sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, like, I had one of my students tell me recently, oh, that this last tournament, her guard got really good and she got really strong. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, last night she was doing takedowns, now she's playing guard.
Yeah.
That's why we got. I try to have them be well rounded, but it's a hard balance. You're trying to get everybody all these little
Totally.
different
You're
skill
always
levels
gonna
up.
one side things for sure for a while. Like I only played guard for like the longest time. I hated being on top. Now it's the opposite. Like I love passing. I don't like guard.
Yeah, I prefer sweeping into like a dominant position.
Yeah.
I
like Adam style almost.
Yeah. It's definitely changing, especially I think even just going from adults to like once you get like above like 30.
Yeah.
It's just different styles and mindsets that you're
Totally.
trying to adapt to. For you, what do you say? What makes a good student?
Ask questions.
Ask questions.
Everybody like a lot of people don't want to ask questions because they feel like they're going to be dumb. Like they might be a dumb question. It might come across as a dumb question to me and you because we've done this for so long, right? It's not dumb to them though, right? And as an instructor, don't be like really retard, like don't do that, right? Just be like they're brand new, you probably get caught in this, and I get caught in this all the time, and I'm trying to like stray away from it. But I always think like when I'm teaching the beginners class or whatever, and I'm showing like let's say a side control Americana, right? I always forget that it's like, oh, this is not natural. It's so natural to us now because we do this every day, right? And so I forget like a detail.
Yes, a lot.
Because I'm like, everybody knows that detail, right? But it's like, no, nobody knows that detail.
Like, well, I always tell my students, like, because sometimes, like, again, I'm human too. I make mistakes.
Yeah.
And they're like, but I'll go back, say the lesson, and then while we drill, I'll give everybody a walkthrough before we start drilling on our own. And they're like, wait, you didn't mention that detail. I'm like, but that's obvious. Yeah, I'm like, hey guys, like, I'm sorry.
All the time.
I always tell them, hey guys, to me this is so obvious, but for you guys, like, something.
Or like breaking a grip.
Yeah.
Or just breaking a grip. I'm like, okay, break the grip, go for the leg, or whatever. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, I didn't show them how to break the grip. Like it's just so simple. I think the most rewarding thing. I saw a kid, Arjuna. Arjuna, this was one of my that burned in my mind. He was an orange belt. He was fighting at nationals, and Arjuna used to get very nervous and not compete like he trained. Kind of like all of us, right? But he was way worse. Yeah, and I saw him. I have a video on my phone, but I have to go way back. But he's in the finals of nationals. He's fighting a kid that always beat him, and he had this he was sitting there talking to himself, and he's like about to walk on the mat, like they're about to call him out. And he was sitting there talking to himself, and to see him just with that pissed off look, that even before the fight, that he overcame the fear of that, not only that kid, but the nerves of competing. That stuck in my brain forever, because I was like, that kid, like he overcame it at 11 or whatever he was. That was that's rewarding to see.
Yeah, seeing somebody conquer that fear,
conquer it, and just to see it on his face, he wasn't scared anymore.
I think for me it's something like that, and for me it's exciting enough when I see kids that are able to compete on their own, they're not relying on me, and it's cool to see kids just go out there, because one of the things, again, I think it falls in the side of the business, with coaching. If you miss a match on coaching a kid, some parents get upset and they blame you, or you weren't there. But for me, I love the students that are confident to go with or without you. That's great to me. That's awesome to see that.
Yeah, a lot of it's so funny how isn't that funny how they're so used to you being there, and the parents even want you there more than the kid does.
I think that's very true.
Yeah, it's he's like, honestly, he doesn't need me at all. To be honest, he moves so fast that I can't even coach him. So that happened to me so many times. I'm like, I don't even know why I'm here. You're moving so fast, I can't even speak fast enough to even tell you what to do. Oh, good job. Just keep going.
What's advice do you give somebody that wants to open up a school? Going back to your beginning self, somebody that wants to open a school, what would you give that person advice on?
First of all, a warning: it's not all what you think it is. We talked about, there's a lot that comes along with it. I mean, I'm sure but I'm a full-time janitor.
Oh, right? Absolutely.
I pick up people's friggin' underwear and stuff. So you're a full-time janitor, and then you're a full-time bookkeeper.
Yeah.
And then you're a full-time therapist, and then you're a jiu-jitsu instructor. So yeah, it's more to it than meets the eye. And then if you're trying to compete and open a school, you're not going to get too far.
How would you build a loyal team in a community?
I'm not scared of people cross-training. I tell people to cross-train.
I do too. I think cross-training is something I feel like you have to be an insecure coach.
Exactly.
To not let people cross-train. Because I feel like different schools offer different styles. Whether it's something different or whatever. I mean, I think someone who wants to be with you is going to stick with you. And again, it's going back to just trusting the vision of your coach. Yep. But cross-training, I think, is very, very important. Just to, it shows you what you need to work on.
Yeah, and it's the people that you think are betraying you by going and training in another school. It's first of all, yeah, it's not you pay a membership here.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you pay for. You pay for jiu-jitsu. Right? For me to tell you first of all, I'm big. I don't know how you feel about this. This sometimes pisses people off. But I'm big. It's I am not going to tell white belts to clean the mat.
No. I clean it all myself.
Fucking job. Yeah. It's my gym. These people, they're hey, white belts, go clean the mat. I'm like, dude, I pay a fucking membership here. Right? I'm not cleaning your shit.
I mean, I'll have people offer, but I'm like, no, I got it, guys. I don't mind. It doesn't bother me.
No, people offer all the time.
Yeah.
Love it. But I'm like, no, it's not your job. To
But
anybody listening to this, that you're in a school that doesn't allow cross training, there's probably something wrong.
Yeah, I think the cult. What do you think? Do you think there's a lot of cult status in jiu-jitsu?
Yes. The worship me shit.
Yeah.
That's why I left Alliance. I will not worship another man. I worship God.
Yeah.
I do not worship another man.
I just think that it's very easy to get put on a pedestal. I tell my
students, yeah.
I tell my some guys, I'm a human being. I'm nothing special.
I say the same exact thing.
I do not believe I'm above anybody. I think
No.
we're all equals. I like to hear my students out. Like I'll take feedback on a lot of things. I don't think my way is the only way, or
Oh, sure.
I'm never opposed to like wanting. I'll take advice. Like, hey, maybe I can incorporate that idea into like this.
Yeah.
You know, I always try to improve. But I always think there's room to improve, and especially me, even as a black belt. Like, I don't think just because I have a black belt, all right, I'm good. No, I'm always trying to learn off people.
Yeah.
Like even and being in these Sean Roberts last couple of years, I've learned so much detail. Then rolling with him, got to meet a lot of
Yeah,
other
he's a
people.
brainiac.
Yeah. Oh, he's a nerd with it.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's why. So the wrestling coach is also a black belt jiu-jitsu, and he is like he's like our Danaher. Like he
oh,
is just like studying and like watching stuff, and it's just like I watch stuff. I only watch fights, right? Like he does it all. It's like you're a brainiac.
for you being how do you balance it all at the end of the day? Being a coach, trying to still compete and owning a school, and then obviously being a family man. How do you balance it all?
It's hard. You know, I do need. I have enough people now where like if I need to disappear for a week and kind of either have family time or just kind of get my mind somewhere else. You know, I have enough people now to take breaks. But I think, you know, I don't know. To be honest, I'm figuring it out because it's like I do not. So I split custody with my daughter.
Okay.
So I do my absolute best to not interfere or add a class or have to teach a class on top of what I already have
Yeah,
when I have her.
that makes
Right.
sense.
So
Yeah.
it's like, you know, that's just one of the things.
So, what's the funniest thing that's happened on the mat for you?
Um,
Let it rip.
yeah, this is pretty funny. You know, there's this guy that was rolling. He was a blue belt, and he had boxers on, and he was pretty well endowed, you know. And he had a cut in his gi pants,
Yeah.
like his gi pants had ripped. He was rolling with one of my friends, and it had like flopped up, right? And he was in side control, right? And I was like, hey, I was like, hey, look down, look down. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, look down. And he just looked at his dude. He jumped up like a cat, dude. And, why is it out? That was so funny, dude.
Oh
And then
man.
you know how you like when you pull guard, you can swing, you can kind of swing into like a guard or a Del
Yeah.
Hiva or whatever. Well, I don't know if you've ever had this happen to you. I've had it happen to me once, but you can kind of swing into it and like one butt cheek will hit, but the rest of your body keeps going.
Oh,
And it's just like
a split.
it happened to one of my students. He's like, I think I'm bleeding. I think I'm bleeding. He was just panicking. He ripped his butt.
Who's the hardest training partner you ever had?
Um, training like traveling and everything.
Yeah, everything.
Adolfo. Adolfo Vera was I not only I think was he one of the greatest, he just switched to MMA. You know, I know he doesn't have the accolades. Like he won everything, obviously, but not like Buchecha accolades. You
Yeah.
know, he was by far one of my favorite, and I hated like when I trained with him. It was one of my favorite days ever in jiu-jitsu. It was me, him, and Leandro, just us three training, and obviously I was dog water that day. It didn't go well, but that was like the cool. Like he did every move that I know in jujitsu on me, and I couldn't stop it. I don't think there's any more moves. So yeah, I loved that day. It
That's
was one of
awesome.
my favorite days.
One technique that you're loving, that you're still doing like all these years, like
Like I love cross sleeve, like sit up guard stuff.
yeah.
You know, I love that stuff. I like wrestling up or from there, or you know, getting that near side sleeves grip. I love that stuff. You know, that's I still use it today, and I'll probably never stop using
If you had to roll with any grappler in the history of jiu-jitsu, who would it be?
it. um, I mean, I've kind of rolled with my favorites. If I had to go back though, it would be Hodger, um, and it would be Kennedy, Marcelo Garcia. I would like to roll with those guys.
What advice would you give to your white belt self?
Get a personal trainer. One of my worst injuries I ever had because I was just like an idiot kid, and you grab the weight and you move it around, you get stronger, right? And I really tweaked my back. That was the worst injury I've ever had in jiu-jitsu. It wasn't even from jiu-jitsu. But yeah, I was just doing like a 40-pound row. I was like a 19-year-old kid doing a 40-pound row and tweaked my back really bad. So get a personal trainer. Don't be stupid.
After all these years, what still keeps you passionate about jiu-jitsu?
I think a lot of what we talked about, seeing those people overcome things, personal goals, weight, even like weight loss, or just trying to beat somebody in here or get better. I think the passionate part though is just watching my students compete. Like, it's an exhausting day, as you know from yesterday. And yeah, it's an exhausting day, but it's so cool to like go out there, like to see them not only compete but to do well.
Yeah.
And I love. Oh, I didn't tell you. I was gonna walk up to you and tell you yesterday. This white belt, this white belt didn't cut weight. I told him to cut weight.
Bottom of
So he was an ultra.
Oh,
His second fight, it's like this 450-pound white belt, right? So I'm coaching him, and the white belt, like, he fought him good. Like, he listened to me very well, but he eventually got put down. And the big guy goes knee on belly on my student, and then he screams in the middle of the match, "I should have cut weight!" And even the referee started laughing. Oh, I was dying, dude. It's so cool to see them experience it for the first time.
The first time they should actually listen to you.
Yeah. It's so funny.
All right, guys, before we wrap it up, Tanner's going to leave us with one technique out of his arsenal. What's one thing you want to leave for the crowd?
That's a good question. Let's do that cross sleeve. What we just talked about, right? So here, like, the guy could be on his knees. It could be combat. Let's do it from combat, right? So if I'm like in De La Riva, okay, and the most common grip probably is the guy to grab the collar right here. I'll grab cross sleeve and I'll go foot on shoulder to break this grip, right? So I'll go kick, and then when I come up, I'm swinging my hip up. I'm using this leg to come up quick, right? This here, okay? So what Brandon will do is he'll either posture up, right? And I could go 2-on-1 here, okay? So I'll go 2-on-1 because obviously here, it's like Brandon's a big guy. I'm a big guy. You're not going to hold anybody down with that one hand, right? So I keep 2-on-1, and I'll actually pull back down to reverse De La Riva here, and then I'll lift the guy a little bit and then roll underneath him. I got De La Riva, cross sleeve. I'll break that collar grip if I need to. I'll swing this, but it's really important you notice my hips. I try to get my hips on the side of Brandon's foot. I don't try to just sit straight up, right? So when I swing out, see I'm on the side here, right? And then I can get that 2-on-1. Then I'll fall back down, right? And then I'll lift a little bit if I need, and then I can rotate underneath.
All right, guys, there you have it. Again, this is Beyond the Podium. I'm Brandon Rios.
Thank you, guys.
Catch you next time.